Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Philadelphia Eagles Now. Before we start today's preview video for the Washington game coming up on Sunday, mailbag video happening later on this weekend. So here's your chance to get a question asked and answered on the show. First, you gotta be a subscriber, and then go down below, use the hashtag Eagles. And if it's a good question, I normally pull 6, 7, maybe even 8 questions, a mailbag video. And if yours is one of the top 8, it will go ahead and be featured in a mailbag video later on this weekend. So get your questions in down below right now. I jump into today's video. A preview as Philadelphia travels to Washington to not only play the Washington football team for the second time in 13 days, but potentially lock up a playoff spot and seemingly eliminate Washington from a playoff contention at the same time. Now, again, this is the second matchup. Second matchups and divisional round matchups are always difficult. It's very hard to beat a divisional opponent twice, especially one that to me is well coached and still very talented in the Washington football team. As we'll talk about here over the next couple of minutes, don't look at what happened 2 weeks ago whenever we played them, and then last weekend whenever they played the Dallas Cowboys. I am very much putting that out of the picture here and not saying that we're going to blow out the Washington football team. I think you're going to see a very, very hard-fought and hungry Washington team that's backed up against the wall that could really pose a threat to Philadelphia and their chances of winning. Eagles are minus 3.5 in terms of favorites according to BetUS. Over-under sits at 46. And I still think that even though the Eagles will win this game, I'm just trying to emphasize today, it's not going to be easy. They're not going to blow them out like the Dallas Cowboys did, as we'll see here in just a couple of minutes. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, the weeds of today's video, type W down below. I think the Eagles will beat the Washington football team. Now, I still think they will win. I'm not going to say that they're going to lose. I at least hope that they don't. I'm going to type W down below. I think that they get that dub. Type W down below if you guys agree. All right, as I mentioned, if you were to watch last Sunday night's matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington football team, and you saw the 56-14 drubbing that Dak Prescott put on the Washington football team defense, you're probably saying, oh, Thomas, don't worry about it. Washington's going to roll over. The Eagles are going to absolutely dominate. I don't think so. I watched that game, and as soon as it became a blowout, I was like, turn this off. Not a lot of film to gather from here. This is not going to be the same Washington team that's going to play at home here in a couple of days against Philadelphia. This is not going to be an easy win. This won't be an easy win for Philadelphia. This is going to be Washington's last chance. And Washington understands that if they lose this game, not only are they eliminated, but they're going to be, considered one of the worst teams in the National Football League, at least one of the worst teams in the NFC East, due to the fact that they'll be number 3 in the actual division. If Philadelphia wins this game, they can put a playoff spot. They can potentially get to 9 or 10 wins on the year. This is all, favoriting Philadelphia. However, again, Washington knows if they win this game, their chances are still technically slim, but alive for a postseason spot. Plus, getting embarrassed back-to-back weeks with us, Dallas Cowboys, has got to not sit right for their team. And I bet Ron Rivera has them extra focused this week. And one, they're going to be healthy. A lot of players back from COVID. You see Taylor Heineke this time. There are a lot of things to kind of emphasize here that it is not going to be a blowout win for the Philadelphia Eagles, even though we all hope that it actually will be. Okay, before we get into, of course, the running back situation for the Eagles this weekend, we'll start with this question down below. Pin comment, ad break. How worried are you about the Washington football team? I just gave you all these reasons why I think they're going to be tough this week. How worried are you? Scale of 1 to 10, comment section down below. Now, of course, as mentioned in the video yesterday, Miles Sanders will not play in this one as he has a broken bone or a fractured bone. They haven't exactly told us right now in one of his hands, and so he is out this week. We'll see if he is out longer, and that means your running back depth chart will feature Jordan Howard and Boston Scott, much like it did when Miles Sanders missed a couple of months ago now, when he tweaked his ankle against the Las Vegas Raiders in that road loss. Was it 5-6 weeks ago? And so a lot of Howard, a lot of Boston Scott, and they'll mix in Kenny Gainwell as well. They also have signed Kerryon Johnson to the practice squad to add some additional depth there at the running back spot, which tells me they're expecting to miss Miles Sanders for at least the next couple of games. I would bet he could come back for a playoff push if they're able to go ahead and get in. How many rushing TDs will the Eagles have on Sunday? Let me know down below right now in the comments section. I'm going to think at least 2. I think Jordan Howard, if you're deep into your fantasy football playoffs, or you start your fantasy football playoffs, might be a nice guy to go ahead and add this week, because Howard, look at the numbers, and obviously we talked about these a lot over the past couple of months. Without Miles Sanders, he's the workhorse, and he's had some really good games, and I think he will have one of those on Sunday. In terms of COVID players out, the Eagles have had a couple of guys hit the actual list. This was early on in the week, and so my expectation is the guys we see on the screen are going to be good to go for Sunday, but they include Derek Barnett, the pass rusher, Sean Bradley, the best special teams player that we have, Raven Clark, a backup offensive lineman, and then you roll over here to the other 3. You have Andre Dillard, your backup left tackle, Teron Jackson, who's had a pretty decent rookie year as a pass rusher. He's at least gotten on the field and made some plays, and Ryan Kerrigan, who you hope to see out there because Ryan Kerrigan continues to be an absolute bust this year, but maybe he can play well the second time back in the old stadium he used to dominate at against the Washington football team. All right, before we get into my keys to the game, quick shout out to our sponsor today's video, BetUS. Go to shotsports.com/EaglesBet. Use that promo code Eagles125. Get a 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. And bet on, let's see, the Eagles this week. They're one of my bets of the week. We'll throw them up on the screen right now. I'll take Cardinals plus 5.5 at the Cowboys. The Cardinals got to win this game. Like, the Cardinals are reeling right now. I think the Cowboys are obviously playing great football and can win this game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than 5.5 points. Give me the Cardinals to cover in that one. I will take the Eagles minus 3.5 at Washington, even though I keep saying it's not going to be a blowout. I think the Eagles can win by at least 7 in this one. Tennessee minus 3.5 versus the Dolphins to me is easy money. Like, I'm not buying the Dolphins being actually good. They might make the playoffs, and it's been a fun run. They beat nobody impressive, and they only scored 13 points if you take away the pick 6 by Ian Book on Monday night against the Saints and the Dolphins game. Texans plus 13 at the 49ers. Texans had a great game and a great win on the road against the Chargers last week. They're going to lose this game, but I think it'll be closer than 13 points. And I'll take the Pack by more than 7 at home against the Vikings to eliminate, hopefully, the Vikings from playoff contention there on Sunday Night Football. Again, you can bet on these, as I will, with our friends at BetUS, shotsports.com/EaglesBet. That promo code is Eagles125. All right, keys to the game. Let's do it. Number 1, no room for a slow start. Philadelphia started slow each the past 2 weeks, and they played great in the second half, especially, really in both the games, the Giants and the Washington Football Team. But, the turnovers early on in the Washington Football Team game, obviously the turnovers early on, or what was almost a bad turnover, that almost interception against the Giants. Like, they've started slow. There's no room for a slow start here. Like, I know the Eagles are a great second half football team, but start strong, get out to a lead, run the football. Don't make this harder than it actually needs to be. Number 2, don't miss a beat running the ball. Like, just because Miles Sanders isn't there, there's no need to back off of it. I don't think Nick Sirianni will, but just to emphasize again, give Jordan Howard the rock. Like, Jordan Howard can handle 18 carries for $120 and a touchdown. Like, he's built to do that. Mix in Boston Scott, mix in Kenny Gainwell. Just don't miss a beat. Maybe even rely on a little bit more. It felt like early on in the Giant game, they were throwing the ball a little bit too much. Like, just run the ball. Do what you do best. Don't overthink this game with Miles Sanders being out. It should be pretty easy to go ahead and establish the run against the Washington Football Team. Before we get into number 3, I want to appreciate all the 22,000 subscribers here we have on the channel, and we begin the march to 23,000 subscribers. So if you're new to the channel, you like the Eagles, and you like a short form video to get you up to date and everything happening, go down below and subscribe. I promise you will not be disappointed, as we have all the latest Eagles, regular season coverage, well, the playoff coverage, hopefully, off season and beyond. We'll cover it here on the channel. All right, key number 3, like I said earlier, prepare for a desperate Washington Football Team. Like, they are going to be desperate. They are going to go for it on 4th down. They might have to mix in some, fake punts, fake field goals, some gadget plays. Like, they're going to do everything they can to win this game because they have to. Like, Philadelphia could lose and still make it. It's tough, and we'll talk about that later on this week. You don't want that scenario, but they can still lose this game and make the postseason. Washington can't. They're 6-8, 9 losses are the nail in the coffin, and so expect a desperate Washington Football Team, and that includes Taylor Heinicke, who's played good football, even though he didn't play good football against Dallas. He played good football before he was out with COVID against Philadelphia, and so maybe that's the Taylor Heinicke you see on Sunday. Key 4, let's keep the turnovers coming. They have done a great job turning the football over. They had another pick 6 last week. Alex Singleton after the tip there. I believe it was Roddy McLeod who had the hit on the receiver? I think it was. Darius Slay, lock up Terry McLaurin like we saw this a couple of weeks ago. Just keep the turnover train coming. Philadelphia is very good when they turn the football over and have done so the past couple of weeks. Final key, very simple. Let's lock this playoff spot up. Like I mentioned earlier, that you can lose mathematically and still get in, but let's not worry about that, right? Win this game. The odds of the Niners and the Packers, the two scenarios that you need to go ahead and actually, confirm that you make the playoffs are probably going to happen. The Niners play the Texans and the Packers play the Vikings. Lock it up, right? Don't leave it to chance to where you have to go to Dallas, or if Dallas comes to Philadelphia and you have to win. I think Dallas is going to play their starters in Week 18. Like, you don't want to risk the idea of losing this game, losing to Dallas, and then Mason in the postseason. Get it done, win the day, do your part, and then you go ahead and lock up at that playoff spot against, again, a hungry Washington Football Team. My prediction, it will be a hard-fought battle. I think Philadelphia pulls it out in the end. Give me the Eagles 31, Washington 21. Philadelphia scored 31 points, or at least 30 points, a lot this season. I think they do it on Sunday. It'll be tough on the road. That Washington turf, FedEx Field, it's terrible. We all know this, but get the job done. Let's win this game. Score predictions down below. Do you have any? Let me know what your score prediction is. Again, I said 31-21 Eagles. Give me yours down below right now. Before we end, again, if you want to DM me your mailbag questions, you can always follow me on Twitter and do it that way, at Real Thomas Mott. And, of course, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, because if you subscribe and drop a like down below, there's a better chance the Eagles win. Not really, but it helps the channel out, and it's fun for you guys at the same time. There you go. All time for today on our Philadelphia Eagles preview video against the Washington Football Team. I'm your host, Thomas Mott, signing off for the rest of your day.